How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Let me in. Take that pain. Take it. Take it. You pushing me back. No.
The courtroom was packed. Reporters, cameras, lawyers, and regular people were all there, waiting quietly. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next in Diddy's high-profile trial. Some had been following the case for months. Others were just curious. But no one expected what was coming. Everything changed when the judge gave a simple signal. Suddenly, a new piece of evidence was introduced. People started whispering. The judge said it was an audio recording. But not just any recording. It was the voice of Diddy's own son, Christian Combs.
Move to the side. Step back. Open this up. You okay, man? You guys okay?
How are you guys feeling? What happened on the inside? What emotions are you feeling?
The entire room went quiet. Then the recording started playing. And from the first few seconds, people were shocked. Christian spoke clearly and seriously. He was talking about private things that happened inside Diddy's homes, at his parties, and during private flights. He said people were paid off. He said secrets were hidden. And worst of all, he made it sound like his father, Diddy, was the one behind it all. At first, Diddy just sat there. He didn't move. He took a slow sip of water and looked down at the table. His lawyer sat stiffly beside him. But as the recording continued, you could see the change in him. His hands started shaking. His eyes filled with something that looked like pain and anger. The judge kept a straight face, but everyone else in the courtroom was reacting. Some people gasped. Others stared in total disbelief. It was like the air had been sucked out of the room. Then, out of nowhere, Diddy stood up. He didn't just stand. He exploded. He started yelling. He pointed toward the speakers where his son's voice was playing. "This is a setup," he shouted. "He's my son. This is lies."
You're not guilty. Did you not do it? What's it like being in court?
People in the courtroom were stunned. Reporters typed frantically. The judge slammed the gavel, asking for order, but Diddy wouldn't stop. He kept shouting that he was being framed, that his own son was turning on him. It was loud. It was emotional. It was raw. His lawyers tried to calm him down. They whispered to him, pulled gently on his sleeve. But it was too late. The U.S. Marshals had to step in. They escorted him out of the courtroom, still shouting. Outside, people were already calling it a full breakdown. Later, some people close to Diddy said he had never been more hurt. They said he was completely blindsided. He didn't expect his son to be part of the evidence. And he certainly didn't expect Christian to say those things. But what exactly did Christian say? Sources say he talked about private meetings, hush money, and how everything worked behind closed doors.
Now a son of embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of... A lawsuit filed in LA Superior Court on Thursday accuses Christian King Combs of assaulting and possibly a woman in December 2022. The woman says it happened while she was working on a yacht that Diddy had chartered. This comes just over a week after homes owned by Diddy were raided in LA and Miami as part of a federal human trafficking investigation. Neither the attorneys for Combs or Diddy have commented on the new leak.
He mentioned the names of guests. He talked about who flew in and out, what they were paid, and why they had to keep quiet. It was the kind of information only someone very close to Diddy would know. Some people think Christian gave that audio to protect himself. Maybe he was offered a deal to stay out of trouble. Others believe he just couldn't lie anymore. Maybe he reached a breaking point.
In a new lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs' second son, Christian Combs, is accused of assaulting a crew member working on a super yacht. That suit was filed here in Los Angeles.
Maybe he decided it was time to tell the truth. No matter the reason, the damage was done. And it hit Diddy hard. His team told reporters he felt betrayed. One lawyer even said, he's not just dealing with a trial, he's dealing with his own son turning against him.
The case has produced audio recordings that allegedly shows forcing himself upon her and that he wouldn't take no for an answer.
The woman says it all happened during what was supposed to be a wholesome family excursion with Christian and his father.
Diddy has always said he's innocent. He says every encounter mentioned in this case was between consenting adults. He refuses to accept any plea deal. He wants to fight. He wants to prove his innocence in court. He also says this trial is bigger than just him. According to his team, Diddy wants to show the world that a black man can still stand strong in a system that many believe is unfair.
Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
One of his lawyers said he feels an obligation, not just to fans, but to anyone who's ever felt targeted or wrongly accused. But while Diddy is trying to stay strong, the internet was going crazy. As soon as the audio played in court, social media exploded. Hashtags like Diddy Breakdown and Christian Speaks started trending. Fans were split. Some said Christian was brave for speaking up. Others said he was a snake for betraying his father. Christian stayed quiet. No public statement, no interview. But insiders say this might only be the beginning. There could be more evidence, more recordings, and possibly more family members getting involved.
But focusing on Christian Combs. Well, Markey says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure Markey to take shots of tequila. That she told Christian she couldn't stay with him unless it was approved by a supervisor, all of whom she knew would be asleep at the time. So this was a way for her to get out of the situation. She claims that Christian said, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Well, Markey then says she responded with, quote, "Well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing."
Well, Markey says this is what happened now.
This isn't just a case about money or fame anymore. It's personal. It's painful. It's a father and a son on opposite sides of the courtroom. Diddy was once one of the most powerful men in music. He had fame, money, respect. People wanted to be like him. He was the king of parties, the master of branding, the mogul who turned everything he touched into gold. But now, the same people who once cheered for him are asking tough questions, and the people who helped him rise might be the ones pulling him down. When he walked into court that day, he was looking for his family. Usually his sons or his mother or sister would be there, but not this time. There were no familiar faces in the crowd. And maybe that made it all worse. Some experts say Diddy's outburst in court could hurt his case. Judges don't like it when defendants lose control.
After the lunch break, Deontay Nash, which was Cassie's stylist and friend, went into details about maybe 10 different incidents of violence. Reading all of this, you really felt like Diddy was running the mafia, and we're going to get into every single incident, starting with the one in Cassie's apartment. We now know who the two friends were that jumped on Diddy's back. It was not only Deontay, but the personal assistant that they're calling Mia. We already know that Cassie was supposed to be packing for the OVO festival, and Diddy came into her apartment unannounced because she wasn't picking up her phone. He then allegedly grabbed her by the hair and began. And Cassie, Deontay, and Mia ran into her room and tried to lock the door. He forced the door open and continued beating on Cassie. Deontay and Mia jumped on Diddy's back and he threw them off. And Diddy hit Cassie's head against the bed frame and she began bleeding from her eyebrow, and he looked at them and said, "Look what y'all made me do." He said Diddy sent Cassie to a plastic surgeon with his security guard, D-Rock, and the next day he FaceTimed her and saw that she had stitches and a gash on her forehead. Incident number 2 was around 2013 that happened outside of a music video set. Deontay said he stepped out for a cigarette and Diddy confronted him because he was angry that he had gone out with Cassie. He said Diddy threw him on the car him and said, "I thought I told y'all about going out." Diddy was jealous that Cassie was going out with others and was taking it out on him. Incident number 3 was at Cassie's apartment, but remember, Diddy pays for this apartment. He and Cassie were at the apartment when Diddy came in and told them to get out of his house. He said Diddy grabbed her by the hair and the shirt and pushed her out of the door and began doing the same to him, but because he didn't have hair, Diddy was punching him in the back of the head.
It makes them look unstable. It makes them look guilty, even if they're not. As the trial continues, everyone's watching Christian. Will he take the stand? Will he say more? Or will he stay silent and let the audio do the talking? One thing's for sure. When Diddy heard that recording, it wasn't just about the words. It wasn't just about the court. It was the sound of his entire empire crumbling. His family, his legacy, his image, all falling apart. And in that moment, in front of the whole world, he couldn't take it. He cracked. This story is far from over.
The next witness on the stand is Derek Ferguson, who worked for Diddy from 1998 to 2017, primarily as the chief financial officer for Bad Boy Entertainment. Now, his testimony is important because it lays the groundwork for the financial trail tied to the enterprise that prosecutors say Diddy used to fuel his alleged crimes. And while he was CFO to Bad Boy Entertainment, he said there were times where he did manage Diddy's personal finances as well. He did not want to testify. He's there under a subpoena and said early on he did have a close relationship to Diddy, talking to him several times a week. He said this was before Diddy took on the chairman role as the companies started to expand. And he confirmed that Diddy owed 100% of his companies like Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Films, and others. He said that some ventures did have outside partners like Bad Boy Records with Arista and then later Warner, and he said Sean John Clothing also had a partner. He and others handled budgets, salaries, and financial ops where Diddy was responsible for creative, marketing, and branding. He said the companies were very profitable and Diddy was paid a salary, but also sometimes distributions from the companies.
More days in court are coming. More questions need answers. But the moment Diddy lost control will be remembered forever. It showed the world that even the strongest people can break, that behind all the money, fame, and power, there's still a human being with emotions, regrets, and fears. The courtroom will see more evidence. There may be more secrets revealed. But what happened that day, when Diddy broke down, when his son's voice filled the room, when everyone saw the pain in his face, that's the moment that changed everything. And now, everyone's waiting to see what happens next.